This final video of this short series, we will talk about how to initialize your block. So basically, after your code is being loaded, we will invoke a callback function that will allow us to manipulate that block in JavaScript. Let's jump in. I have here my block, so I'm going ahead and remove the code that we added in the previous video. And that is just to create a simple block. Now, what I want to do next is just to call a function called name block. Block is the place where you should put your JavaScript code in order to initialize your code. So in this case, blocks takes a parameter. The first one is the block ID. Remember that we're calling all blocks block. And in here, we're just passing a selector. By itself, nothing should happen. As you can see, we don't see any changes. But if we go inside, block will allow us to pass two more parameters. The second one here is a callback function. That callback function takes a block object then. Now let's do some of the jQuery methods. So if I want to find the text of the h3 tag, I should be able to say block.find, and that is a jQuery method, h3. And I can call the text value. Let's make that a variable, our title equal, and then I can alert that value. Let's give it a try. And there you go. Now the last parameter that you can pass to block, and I will remove this, is a data function, or a data object, to be more specific. This data object can be used to enable a template engine. So the data will be returning the callback function as the second parameter. Data promise. And let's start with something simple. I will pass here my title and I will make that a dynamic function. So let's remove this from here. And I will say title. Title from data. Now, by itself, nothing has changed, and that is because we haven't initialized the template engine. To do so, we need to specify a parameter or a data attribute called compile, which basically will instruct the builder to compile that block. And in here, we can replace that with our data. So in this case, I want this to be our title. Perfect. So let me recap just to explain what happened. We add the attribute compile, which will indicate the block builder to compile this element. So our block will be pre-processed before it is rendered. Then we added curly bracket and curly bracket. This is just a syntax to allow accessing the template engine. And the object that we pass from the JavaScript function is under data. So the way to access that will be $data. And then any variable or any member of that object will be accessible from the template itself. So in this case, the only thing that we added was a title property, which we referenced in this object, and it outputs that element. Now, let's play that one more time. So you see the title that comes from the form, from the template. You see it now in the code. Now, there are many things that you can do with the template engine. So I'm going ahead and just create a for loop. Just to give you an idea, you can say for variable I equals 0 or equal 1 to 10. That will start a loop. And I can close that loop tag. And this is a standard template engine that you will find in many other frameworks. So I want to create a order list on order list. And let's call this li item. I will render that without accessing the code yet, without accessing the template. So as you can see, I have now 10 items. And if I want to access the value of the variable, all what I need to do here is again, open my curly brackets, and then I can say I. That will be within the scope of this loop. And there you go. So the benefit of using this template engine is in some cases you may want to have a template that repeats a lot of elements, such as a card or a list. In such cases, you should be able to simply add data to your block initialization and then pass to the template. Now let's do one more example in this case. So I will add the items in the list over here, items, and I will turn that into an array. And the array will have objects. So I will say name 1, and I will do 2 more, 2 and 3. So now notice that the data has now a property called items. So I can actually change the syntax of this and loop through that element. So I will say for each, and in this case will be data dot items as, and I can call this anything I want. I will call that item singular. I can close it for each. And then I can specify my li element. And in this case, I'm just gonna output the name. So that will be item dot name. Let's review this one more time in case something is wrong. So I have the for each, close, open. Then I'm referencing the items object, which is this one. And then I'm turning each item in that iteration as item. And from item, I'm just calling name. Name should be 1, 2, and 3. So let's run this. And there you go. So in this video, we cover basically one option or one element or one alternative, which is the ability to initialize your code. But we also added as a bonus the explanation about compile templates. And that should be it.